Taurus, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings, so take what works, leave what doesn't. As with everything in life, I also do personal readings, so you can see the information for that in the description. And I have been taking photos of the spreads and putting them at the end of the videos for those of you that want to read along or check my work or whatever. You are welcome to do that. All right. We're going to get an intuitive vibe here for our dear Tauruses. Taurus. Oh my goodness, Aries just got that card. And I was just talking about with Aries about how, I don't know, this is plenty, thank you. About how each week there seem to be themes. And this is one of our theme cards. And it makes sense too, really. Here is card number 44, Stranded. So this is something big happened. And put you someplace that you weren't expecting to be. So here you are, you're a little young, you set out on this journey, you were very excited, probably more enthusiasm than knowledge, and something really big happened. It looks like kind of a big flood happened. And I've spent a lot of time with this card trying to figure out what happened and how to make this make sense, right? This big boat in a tree. So here's what I've decided. There was a big flood. A more experienced sailor might have been able to avoid this situation here, might have noticed that what appeared to be solid land was not solid land, but was in fact a tree. But yeah, you didn't have a more experienced mentor or whatever here, and you ended up here. And now you're feeling very stranded, a little humiliated. You're not sure if you ever want to go sailing again. But if you do, this next time you will go do an apprenticeship for several years. You will go back, hit those books again, learn what's going on, you know, take some more classes or whatever to figure out how to not get into this situation again. But the problem at hand is, how do you get out of this situation? We don't know. I don't know. It's not obvious, but we have this sort of sundog rainbow in the clouds here, and Spirit sees where you're at, that sees the situation. And I do believe that help is on the way with this card, but for now we're just sort of sitting with, how the fuck did we get here? Which is super important. That's the first part of being able to learn how to be a better sailor, is learning from your mistakes and your errors. So yeah, maybe something in life really, and certainly for all of us, we've had this massive flood-like thing, tsunami come in and just rearrange our lives completely. So that it could be that, or it could be something else, but something out of our control came in, and then we didn't necessarily navigate it expertly, which is fine. It's called a learning experience. And this is nothing but a really big learning experience right here. Next time, if there is a next time, you'll be so much smarter. You'll be older for sure, and so much smarter. So this is just sort of the dance we do with life, and with things like bullshit happens and we don't always navigate it perfectly, but the hope is that we navigate it better for next time. So you're stuck right here, and the best way to make the best of this situation of feeling stranded and stuck is to just keep learning. And your learning doesn't necessarily change the situation. You can learn everything you want out of the situation. It doesn't mean it gets you out of the tree, but for next time you might not get into the tree. So this is a learning experience, and right now you are stuck and stranded, so you might as well start the learning with realizing what part you played in getting stuck here. So then we have the white rose of hope. I think you're hoping you can get out of that tree, and maybe with a boat too. But the way I look at that tree, I think that boat's going to be in that tree till that tree is dead. I think you're going to have to cut your losses at some point. Maybe. I mean, that's just how I see that. You know, trying to look at this logically, like how logically did you get in this tree? Probably a flood. Tsunami. How are you getting out of the tree? You're getting out of the tree. You may not be able to bring this expensive boat with you. So white rose of hope, you've got some sort of hope here, some sort of dream that you were, well, maybe it was this dream to be, you know, a captain of this ship, to be an amazing sailor. You can get there. You still hope, you're still hoping to be able to go back to what you were doing before. You still have that hope and that dream. It's still within you. to be able to do that. And here you have the moon dance. I like this because here, again, in a very precarious spot, very precarious here. It's reminding me of a Tom Robbins book called Fierce Invalids Home from Hot Climates. And it's about, it's not my favorite book of his, but it is still a pretty cool book. And just this high wire dance. His is more talking about art and the high wire dance that art is, the precarious little, the precariousness of it. But so, and he has to cross a high wire every time he wants to go home. So, or back to his office or whatever. Anyway, it's been a long time since I read that book. But here we have three little birds saying it's going to be all right, which is what I believe this sundog here is also telling us. You're going to get there. It's going to be all right. But you do have this sort of precarious path forward that is a little bit delicate, and you can only, it's not in bright sunlight. You've got your intuition to guide you and helping you. So you do have help here, which is what I was getting from this card, just sort of... This sundog eye is here to say everything is going to be all right eventually, and we do have some help here. Your help right now, it feels like it's just your intuition, but there is more. So you've got some cheerleaders cheering you on as you move forward. You're about halfway through this journey, and it is a delicate process, and you do need to be working with your intuition here, and just kind of feeling your way forward. All right, Taurus, let's see. Oh, okay. All right, Taurus. This is your past, your present, your inner landscape. What's at issue? Your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. Okay, so everything's upright except for our past here, which is a reversal. So since I keep this deck entirely in its upright form because of the type of reading I like to do for YouTube, we are going to take this in the reversal. So this is Six of Pentacles. So in the upright, this has to deal with fairness, generosity, that kind of thing. But as a reversal, this has to do with a lack of fairness, a lack of generosity. Maybe someone else is getting more than you, and that's bothering you. Someone else has been given all of the charity and you're not getting any charity. There's a sense of like a lack of charity here, a lack of receiving. I mean, you could be anybody in this situation. You could be the one, fairly but miserly bean counting out your charity here. I mean, in this deck, she very much comes across as like a generous, benevolent force. In other decks, it's more like a bean counter, like one bean for you, one bean for, oh, you didn't like that bean? Okay. Then one bean for you, three beans for you. I mean, it can have that thing. So that could be what's going on here because of the way this deck shows this card. It wanted to come out reverse, talking about some bean counting and some, maybe someone being unfair or wielding their wealth and their generosity in a very, what feels to you as an unfair way, or they could be you just being kind of an asshole with your money. So there could be like just a lack of generosity here, not a generous spirit, but a miserly spirit. There could be a sense of competition between people asking for, it's like, okay, we're giving out a grant, and then you have to compete with all these other people for this grant, and someone might be cheating that process. So there's something feels very unfair, and maybe there's not a generous spirit associated with something, but rather a miserly spirit and bean counting. So that's in your recent past, is this miserliness, and a lack of generosity or a competition. It almost feels like someone fomenting sibling rivalry, like one of those parents that gets off on having their children compete for them and for their attention and that kind of thing. That's what it feels like a little bit. So in your present situation, you're trying to balance something. You're definitely trying to balance on this tree, and you're definitely trying to balance here as you make your way across. So part of your journey forward could be needing to balance a lot of things and needing to do this very delicate balance as you move forward. to get out of this situation and continue on with your dream and your vision for your life. So this is referencing two things that are never fully in balance. That's the nature of them. And there's physical things, but we've got this watery, wishy-washy base that's always moving and always... this reminds me of a teeter-totter. That's really like, I don't know if anybody remembers those. They took them out of playgrounds. I may have been part of that process, as I had a big accident as a child and lost some teeth on a teeter-totter accident. But they were, I still love them, but they were like, you know, you'd stand in the middle and you'd kind of like balance, and every so often you could get that balance perfect, but it wouldn't be long, and then you'd be like balancing like that. So this is just like this watery kind of, I don't know, there wasn't any water there, but maybe standing on a surfboard or something like that. So she's standing on here, and these two things don't like this watery, wishy-washy. These are pentacles. They want stability. So two things in your life might be arguing for some stability. And here we have two things arguing too, or competing with each other. And so you're still having these competing things going on in your life. And they're things that both of them would like some stability. Both, you know, your work and your home life would like some fucking stability here. But you're not, just the nature of life and the nature of the situation means that neither one of them are going to be getting the stability that they want. There's this... whooshiness that makes these pentacles uncomfortable underneath them, and so she's juggling them. She's juggling these balls and having to really balance things, or trying to balance things. And sometimes the best way to balance things is by just switching which one's in imbalance or which one's not getting what they want, because it's almost impossible to balance everything in life. So she's like, oh, okay. So that you're in some sort of balancing act, and I'm seeing this with us too. And this is in the past where it's feeling like it's out of control, and some parts of your life just really are asking for things from you that you can't give. And here you're really working on trying to bring some balance to these things, and trying to at least juggle these balls. Here's maybe you weren't even trying to juggle these balls, and now you're trying to juggle them. But it's a little bit uncomfortable because these are pentacles, and they like to be stable, and they like to be grounded. They are grounded physical things, and they don't like to be in this sort of emotional balancing act. So in your inner landscape, we're dealing with the Wheel of Fortune, changes of luck. I think you're hoping for your luck to change. Definitely you have a hope here, and definitely you need some luck changing here. So I think you're really thinking about that and hoping for that. Luck is usually just the result of hard work, meeting a chance circumstance that you were hoping to meet, and then you're ready to take that. So whatever luck you're hoping to experience, make sure that you're ready for it. Make sure that you've done your work, so that, you know, it's not going to be much good if, say, you're an actor and a part comes along and someone offers it to you and you haven't been practicing your craft, you haven't been working on it, and you just come in and you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't done this for a while. Okay, yeah, this, you know, well, you had this luck and you didn't do the work to accept that luck. So this is talking about, you know, dealing with that issue and thinking about that, hoping for your luck to change. And I'm just here to remind you, make sure that whatever lucky circumstance you'd like, you have put yourself in the path of receiving and making the most out of that lucky circumstance. So maybe you're worrying about bad luck too, you know, so this is your inner landscape. You're thinking about luck and thinking about how things change, and the Wheel of Fortune changing. And this is my merry-go-round. In our merry-go-round, we have the bull and the princess and the lion and the eagle, and they're just up and down at different points as we go around the sun here each year. As we do this circle, our ponies are up and down, and sometimes we don't have a lot to say in whether they're up or down. But if you want to catch that little ring, you know, the little brass ring, your pony's got to be up, and you've got to be ready with your hand out. So so that's what this is talking about. And this card also talks about being ready with your hand out for any sort of handout that might be coming. But, you know, you want to be ready for it. So what's at issue is the Lovers reversed. So this card is about... this card is about making choices and making decisions, the path that calls to you and the path that makes sense. So, man, I'm just seeing so many like miserly balancing between two things, not giving something, giving one thing more attention, I think, than something else. And this card in the upright is about these decisions that we face of, it's my Romeo and Juliet card. And that story is about, like, are you going to follow your heart? And sometimes it ends in tragedy, especially if you're 14 years old, and only the friar understands. But this is about making those decisions and making those choices to follow your heart, even though it might not make sense. Or are you gonna go with the one you love, or are you gonna go with the one your family says is okay, and that sort of thing. And that can apply to many different areas in our life, our work, our relationships, our hobbies, all of that, the things we spend our time on. Like, are we gonna go with something? God, I hope you're going with something you love for your hobby, and not with something that, like, someone else dictated for you. So are you going to live the life that you want to live, or are you going to live the life that calls to you, moment by moment, or in different phases? Are you going to make, what decision are you going to make? Are you going to go with the lover, go with this sort of intimacy and this love? These could be from the two different families, warring factions. This could be from two different, in my country right now, this could be a Republican and this could be a Democrat. Like, oh my gosh, how are they going to go together? But if their hearts call them in that direction. But we're getting it in the reverse. So all of that is to say, that's not what's going on. You've decided against going with your heart, going with your passion, going with what moves you. And you're either refusing to make that choice and make that decision, or you've made the decision to not go with what you love and to go with what makes more sense, to not balance out your need for survival with your need to be creative. This feels like you maybe are just deciding to go with survival and fuck the creative side, because look where it got you. So it's something like that, like, okay, this hurt me. This one path I took, this path of passion that made me get into this boat and set sail at just the wrongest time in the world. I don't like that anymore. I don't like where it took me, and I'm going to go with this logical thing now. And this is saying that this is actually causing a problem for you. In your environment is this heartache. This card is usually about like a fast-moving heartache, quick grief storms here. So you're heartbroken. I think you might be heartbroken because you did set out on this and you did have these big dreams, and you're heartbroken. So there's something around you that's got some heartbreak to it. I think the situation that you're in, you didn't get what you needed. You didn't get what you asked for, what you wanted. And you could be heartbroken, and this would definitely sour you to making decisions based on your heart, because the last one maybe didn't turn out so good. So this is a heartbreak. So all around you, you've got some sort of broken heart. This could be truths coming in that really hurt you to know that, really hurt you to see that. This could be words that have harmed, words that harm, words that hurt. I'm seeing that a little bit with this card for sure. Someone that's very miserly with their attention and their affection. And so this is about, our swords are words and ideas. So you could be really deeply wounded, or having something like that go on in your environment where someone around you has been deeply wounded by some sort of truth, some sort of words, some sort of new understanding that hurts. I mean, that's all part of this. Like, you got to see where you're at. That's where I was going with this. You got to see where you're at and how you got here. And that can be really painful to look at some of the decisions you made. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just because you followed your heart and it hurt you and caused problems in the past doesn't mean you can't start sailing again. It just means you got stuff to learn before you can sail again. So this is all a little bit of a painful learning process here. Your to-do list is 6 of Swords. So this is leaving behind a whole land, a whole continent. This is my refugee card. A whole continent that was too difficult to bear. You'd rather head out in a little rowboat into a stormy open ocean than stay on that shore for any more minutes. So there is something very painful, miserly and painful. You've got this heartache here. You've got a lot of heartache And you're being called to leave that behind. Whatever place is causing you hurt and pain, you're being called to take the steps, to do the first launch off. This is his first, this shore is right here. We've got open ocean over here. This is start the journey away from the painful thing. And the painful thing, it looks like it's your heart, but it's actually something else. It's the swords going through your heart. It's not the heart itself. It's not that you can't ever sail again. It's that you just need to get out of this situation. Leave, I think this is like, leave the boat up there and just cut your losses and move on. Get away from the thing that's causing so much pain. Leave the land that's causing pain, and move forward. It's going to be delicate. It's going to be difficult. But the problem isn't your heart. The problem is something in your environment that's hurting you, and making it seem like your heart's the problem. But your heart's not the problem. Yeah. So possible outcome. You are in the middle of the desert and you find a wand and it's really amazing. You're like, where did this wand come from? I don't know, but something's going to come in here that's going to be inspiring, a new idea, a new direction, and you're going to be really fascinated by it, really amazed by it. It's going to be this, where did this, I thought I was heading out from this painful place, but it looks like life's going to meet you part way here and bring you something very interesting, very inspiring, and you're going to learn. So this is the page. The page is the freshman of the deck, learning all about how the high school works, how you're going to organize stuff, where your locker is, what the hierarchy is, all the stuff. Well, that's a lot of bullshit stuff about high school, but the page is beginning. So you're going to begin again, and you're going to begin anew. And this time you're going to be very curious. You're going to learn. You're not going to be arrogant. You're not going to set sail with very little knowledge, just a good feeling about how great you are. You're going to set sail. Now you're going to go back, and you're going to become the learner, and you're going to learn about creativity, and you're more open. I mean, this is the test, where you take the test and then you realize all the shit you didn't know and should have studied. Now you're going to get a chance to study that stuff, to learn that stuff, to learn about following the path of heart, to learn about creativity, to just be re-inspired. This inspiration is going to come to you in the middle of the desert, and it's going to awaken something in you and surprise you. And instead of just being surprised or being arrogant about it, you're going to be very like, what is this? Okay. I've learned some lessons here, and now I'm ready to listen and learn. But first, you got to leave something behind that's been causing a lot of pain and suffering for you. Yeah. All right, Taurus. So I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for your likes, comments, and subscribes. And I really enjoy reading your comments and your how these cards fit with you and that kind of thing. I really like that. So thank you so much. I'll see you next week.